week in Inside Off-Road, Hannes Grobler and Richard Leake's 7-event winning streak comes to an end, while Gil Nel is involved in a seesaw battle in the SA Off-Road Special Vehicle Championship, presented by ABSA. And we take a trip down memory lane with Sun City 400 originator Klaus Degener. Inside Off-Road is proudly presented by ABSA. For fast, flexible vehicle finance, contact your nearest ABSA branch or call 0860 669 669 or visit absa.co.za. Proudly South African Nissan pair Hannes Grobler and Richard Leake's lead over Marc Cronje in the SA Off-Road Championship for production vehicles, presented by ABSA, has been whittled away after the recent Queen Motorspares Taka 400. Only 7 of the 8 rounds count towards the championship, and Grobler and Leake, who won the first 4 events of the season, have held the lead all season long.
Well, we'll definitely have to try and finish every race to the end of the year. It's not going to be easy. All the guys are going flat out for the championship. And I think we're going to have to try our best to finish every event.
The Nissan pair failed to complete the prologue and started 22nd, 16 minutes behind teammates Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan. They had to contend with brake problems on lap 1 and gearbox problems on lap 2 of the Queen Motorspares Taka 400, and in the end settled for 4th overall. What are the prospects for Marc Cronje?
In terms of the championship, it's looking quite good for me. We had a bit of a rough race the last event, so we're looking to go forward from here and hope things sort of get on track and try and make up the gap that Hannes has got on us.
Cronje and Birken, one of only 4 crews to have completed each event this year, had a clear run in their near-standard bucky and finished 6th overall and 1st in Class E last time out, and have closed within 16 points of the championship leaders. Neither of the 2 crews can afford a non-finish in the remaining 3 rounds of the championship if they hope to keep their title chances alive, because there are potentially 5 teams that are in with a chance of snatching the title away from them. 3rd place Kasi Kutsia and Oki Fari have had a consistent run in the Castrol Toyota Hilux KZTE and have 1 win and 2 second-place finishes in Class E to their credit, and only trail the leaders by 21 points. Despite starting 50th overall and 25th in the production vehicle category and losing front-wheel drive towards the end of the race, the veteran rally and off-road driver finished 9th overall and 2nd in Class E in Takastad. Former champion Janelle de Villiers, who resides in Stellenbosch, and Francois Jordan led from start to finish in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody in Takastad to add 35 points to their tally and move from 7th to 4th place in the championship battle. They're 45 points behind their teammates, but only 6 points ahead of Pietermaritzburg businessman Neil Woolridge and Ken Schalthammer in the Team Ford Racing Ranger, who gained 4 places after finishing 2nd in Takastad. Harris Smith-based father and son, Johan and Martinez van der Merwe, finished 12th overall and 3rd in Class D in the Chivani Coltradeo on the Queen Motorspares Taka 400. This earned them enough points to retain their Class D championship lead over Klerksdorp businessmen Hein Grobler and Gerard Prinsloo in the GBS Racing Nissan hardbody. But they've dropped a position in the overall standings by virtue of the strong performances of the Class T brigade.
100, straight through ditch.
Tosca farmer R.P. Reyneke and Robin Harton's 3rd place finish on the Queen's Motorspares Taka 400 earned them 26 points, and the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser crew is now joint 7th with Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham in the Class E Team Ford Racing Ranger. The KwaZulu-Natal cane farmers had a dismal time in Takastad and were plagued by a variety of problems, including a puncture, a seized cooling fan and a broken engine mounting. They also replaced a broken torsion bar during the race by stripping one off Zane Pierce's broken down high-Q Ford Ranger. Scott Abraham and Richard Carolyn started 49th overall and 24th in the production vehicle category after getting the Atlas Copco Chicago pneumatic Jeep stuck in a donga during the prologue for the Queen Motorspares Taka 400. They finished 7th overall and 6th in Class T, behind all the factory entries to retain 9th place in the overall championship, but have dropped from joint 2nd to 4th in the Class T championship. Grobler and Prinsloo in the GBS Racing Nissan Hardbody failed to finish in Tarkastad and have dropped from 4th to 10th in the overall championship and are now 4 points behind the Class D championship leaders. They're under threat from Dion Skuman and Jeremy Fall, who are 3rd in Class D and only 4 points behind in the top car Nissan Hardbody. The Special Vehicle Championship has been a 3-horse affair all season long, with Gil Nil in the Look Africa Truggy, Gerald Mandel and Billy Bond in the Prolong Bat, and Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane in the Rollerbuck Racing JRE, locked in a titanic battle for the title. Class B championship leader Nell led the overall championship for the first half of the season, but KwaZulu-Natal-based Mandel and Bond grabbed the drivers and co-drivers lead by a mere 1 point and 7 points respectively after the Oven Fresh Biscuits 500. Nell finished 6th overall and 2nd in Class B on the Queen Motorspares Tarka 400 to earn 26 points compared to the 20 of Mandel and Bond, who now trail the Germiston businessmen by 5 points in the overall championship. KwaZulu-Natal farmer Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane are the reigning Class B champions and have only managed to win the class once this season. They're 3rd in the overall championship, with Taylor 3rd in the Class B Drivers' Championship and de Chalane 2nd in the Class B Co-Drivers' Championship. Nick Gosling in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Raceco has moved from 8th to 4th in the overall championship and leads the Class S Drivers' Championship after finishing 3rd overall and 1st in Class S on the Queen Motorspares Tarka 400. Newcomer Gosler cannot afford to relax because Botswana businessmen Mohammed Noor and Mohammed Nulsin in the Super Veg Raceco are only 4 points behind in the Class S Championship. Special vehicle category winners on the Nissan Dealer 400 and the Oven Fresh Biscuits 500, Atang Makhaganeni and Mike Stangl, retired with engine problems on the Total Sam Racing Jimco after lap 1 in Tarkastad. The Botswana businessman has dropped a position to 5th in the Drivers' Championship, while Stangl retains his 3rd spot in the Co-Drivers' Championship. Queen Motorspares Tarka 400 winners Gary Berthold and Brandon Harkus have rocketed up the championship log and are 6th and 4th in the Drivers' and Co-Drivers' Championships respectively. The locally designed and constructed Bat vehicles have become a force with which to be reckoned, and apart from winning overall in Tarkastad, a Bat also crossed the line 1st in Class B, with Clint Gibson and Mike Brown behind the wheel of the Presidium Financial Services Bat. The KwaZulu-Natal-based crew is 7th in the overall Drivers' Championship and 5th in the overall Co-Drivers' Championship, with Gibson 3rd and Brown 2nd in Class B. There's a lot at stake for some of the established names and many newcomers to the SA Off-Road Championship, presented by ABSA. And with 3 rounds remaining, competition is expected to be fierce. The next round of the championship is the Sun City 400 on September the 26th and 27th. Let's take a trip down memory lane with Klaus Degener, who is the originator of the multi-lap concept of off-road racing, first introduced in Sun City in the 1980s.
Yeah, I think, the Sun City 400 was based, first of all, on the Mint 400 in Las Vegas, which was sponsored by the Mint Casino, which I'd gone over to see in 1984, and came back with the idea to Peter Wagner at Sun City. And together with Des Reed, who was then running the Sun City Motorsport Club, we started the Sun City 400 based very much on that format as it was run in Las Vegas. But the big difference was that we offered prize money, which was an unheard of sort of thing in South African off-road racing. And we had an overall prize fund and a prize fund based on classes, a number of entries in it, which went down really well with the competitors. And it just had something very special in those days. The Sun City 400 had glitz and glamour with it being so close to Sun City and the casino and the hotel and one thing and the other. We then decided to, with the help of Camel, who were our sponsors at that time, to bring out overseas drivers like Malcolm Smith, Robbie Gordon and Rick Scalzo to draw more public interest. And Malcolm came out and in his natural, brilliant fashion won the race in a Chenoweth special. And Robbie Gordon, when he came out, also took a massive lead on the first lap, only to have a rock stuck between the wheel and the brake line, and that cost him time. And he dropped almost to stone last by the time he came out of the pits, and still recovered to finish second overall. And Rick Scalzo came out on the basis that he provided the competitors like Bix Carolyn and Harry Roscoe with race car motor vehicles. And they were in fact the first specialized vehicles that came out of the States, and they came via Rick Scalzo, by David Chrysler, who manufactured the vehicles. Now, the Sun City 400 was traditionally known for wet conditions because it was run early part of the year. In fact, it used to be the first unofficial race of the season, and then it became the first round of the SA Off-Road Championship. And for some unknown reason, it just never rained the week before, but the night or 2 nights before the race, it came down torrentially. And mud, and particularly the black clay mud, became the order of the day. And it got so bad in 1995, in fact the last time that the Sun City 400 was then run, we had 4 finishes, which I believe is still the lowest finishing rate of any off-road race. That's on the motor vehicle section, as most cars just got stuck in rivers and got washed away and got stuck in the mud. In fact, the whole pit area got washed away from the torrential rain that we had that year. And then the 94 race, the race came through the motocross complex, and the now president of the Off-Road Association of South Africa, Piet Swanepoel, was my navigator. We came through the motocross track, and again it had rained quite a bit, and then with the rain I didn't quite see a hole after a jump. Landed, hit the hole, and we cartwheeled the vehicle onto its roof, with Piet Swanepoel just making a comment that he didn't think that was very funny. And we got the car back on its wheels, but eventually landed up having to retire. Well, I've been out of off-road racing about 5 years now, and it's incredible to see how the pace and the competition has picked up in racing, particularly on the manufacturer side, with the Nissans and Toyotas doing what they're doing today, just giving the specials one big carrot, where before it always used to be the specials that gave the 4x4s a carrot unless it was a muddy race. And what is particularly encouraging to see is the support and interest shown by the manufacturers in the form of the full sponsorship of teams, where in the past it used to be like a part-time sponsorship. Today it's a full-on sponsorship. In fact, more money is being poured into off-road racing by manufacturers today than to track racing. And I think with that it's brought along a tremendous amount of interest from the general public, who can relate a lot more to the manufacturers rather than to the space frames. And I think also what is really good to see is that APSA has come in the way they have in sponsoring the Off-Road Championship, and also the TV coverage, bringing it into the homes of thousands of South Africans that now can see the sport for over an hour every time we have a race. And it's just very encouraging, because APSA being a household name, most people have their bonds and finance their cars through APSA, relate to the sport, I think, a lot more than maybe if it had been sponsored by somebody else.
Degner has always had a passion for horsepower in one form or another. The retired Springbok show jumper these days devotes much of his time to the show jumping careers of his daughters Stacey and Tanya, both of whom have shown that they have what it takes to succeed locally and internationally.
Tanya's just come back from representing South Africa in Brazil at the World Children's Championship there, and she finished 9th out of the 32 international competitors, and is now riding in juniors. And Stacey has just started riding in juniors, had a very successful career in the children's classes as well.
What about the difference between horsepower on 4 wheels and on horseback?
Well, it's a very different sort of situation. I mean, being behind the steering wheel of an off-road race car and sitting on an animal that has a mind of its own. I think the biggest difference is one of coordination and feel on a horse, and total different coordination and feel in a race car, where you're still controlling 4 wheels, but how you control them depends on your hands, where on a horse it depends very much on how well the horse's mind is schooled to what you want to do it.
What are the prospects of Degener ever being back behind the wheel of an off-road car?
When I see off-road racing on TV, you know, you get that boil in your blood that you'd like to be out there, and particularly when you see the Nissans, the way they perform. It's just one of those things. I'd like to get my butt into one of those and give Reniel and Hannes a good go for their money. And Hannes, being basically the same age as I am, proves one thing in motorsport, that you're never too old to race.
Sun City in off-road South Africa stepped into the breach last year to make facilities and a route available for the Toyota Dealer 400, which was meant to have taken place in the White River area, but the high fire risk in the forests forced a change in venue. Racing champions Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan dominated proceedings in the Nissan hardbody and led for much of the race to record their 3rd win of the season. Neil Woolridge and Ken Schalthammer finished 2nd overall in the Team Ford Racing Ranger, with R.P. Reinecker and Robin Houghton 3rd in the Castrol Toyota. There was just no stopping the Nissan onslaught. Former Unstuck Diamond prospectors Gerard and Lawrence du Plessis showed the special vehicle field the way home in the Porsche-powered Liebherr Gymco, while championship leaders Greg Harvey and Boy Stone were happy to finish 2nd and amass more points in the quest for the title. Atang Machaganeni and Mike Stangl led early on, but had to settle for 3rd in the Sam Racing Gymco. The du Plessis brothers picked up their 2nd win of the season. The Sun City 400 gets underway at 1 o'clock on Friday, September the 26th, with a 40-kilometer prologue. The main event starts at 8 and comprises 3 laps of a tough 130-kilometer route in the Pilanesberg area.